Hi, my name is Uzo. My pronouns are they, them, and he, him. I feel like working in the music industry as a trans person, you don't really feel seen a lot. You have to speak up to be seen and heard. Um, Something I've noticed is that in a predominantly cis male space, you won't experience blatant transphobia or discrimination. It's more so that people will walk on eggshells and teeter around your identity. So it's like, even if I'm not being misgendered, I can actively feel when the sound guy in a venue doesn't want to address me because he feels awkward about having to use my pronouns. Or, just like getting a cold shoulder before a set, but then after the set, when, maybe the main act sees that they like your performance, then they start speaking to you because they see that, oh, like, you're trans, but you're trans with something to offer. So now they want to speak to you, and you can notice the change. So I feel like unless I'm performing or I'm doing music work in something that is a intentionally queer space, queer and inclusive space, I don't feel seen or heard unless I address it. I think especially as a trans masculine person that goes in some cis masculine spaces as a rapper, it's like, gosh, how can I even talk about this experience? It's like you want to make sure that your bars are tight all the time, because you already know that people can slight you just for being trans and existing, but you have to make, like, it just puts this extra chip on your shoulder, and it puts this perfectionist streak in you where you're just like, I have to come hard all the time. Like, I can never forget my rap. It can never be mid. It can never be nothing, like, because transphobia is already a looming threat. I can't have them say transphobic things and my bars are whack. Like, it has to be like, I have to have one or the other. So I think it like had put a lot of pressure on me, but also like forced me to be better and just outwork the people that I'm around. It can be very alienating as well, because I don't know a lot of trans mask rappers, at least that I enjoy and that I'm friends with. So it's like cis men see you as a threat to their masculinity when you are in the same space as them with the same amount of braggadocio and like confidence. Um, so it's always a matter of like, at least from what I've experienced, cis men will treat you. They'll be very standoffish with me, at least. They can be very standoffish. They don't really, and also like my brand is hip hop. My brand of rapping is not really the traditional sense as far as American hip hop, because I grew up in the UK. So like it's a lot of, it's not even just the trans things. I think I'm just a little too alien. And but then when they see you on stage or they hear your songs or they see that you're getting popular, that's when the guys will start to want to speak to you more and maybe try and be friends with you. And it's like, oh, I had to prove myself in order to be worth you even like giving me a shout out or caring about what I do. It's very conflicting, uh, loving a genre and being a part of a genre that like I think about this all the time. Like, what if I meet my heroes one day and I know that a lot of my favorite rappers probably are queer phobic? You know what I mean? And it's just so strange of like wanting to be a part of something so bad, but then also knowing the reality of like, if you want to be a part of hip hop, you got to carve your own lane, because the lane that's already set, it does not welcome you, no matter how many allies claim to exist. I feel like with entertainment, we always start with the most palatable thing first, right? So it's like, even when we do get trans representation, it always has to be light skinned or white, or the people who have all the conventional surgeries and look like what cis people are comfortable with trans people looking like and sounding like. It's like we always have to, it's like there's this totem pole of trans and queer representation in entertainment that is just so like, they try to find the things that are as closest to like cisness and lightness as possible and then finally, like, like eventually you'll get your turn type of thing. And I just wish that there was more variety when it came to the types of trans and gender nonconforming people that are being put in music. And not even just music, but I feel this way about television and like movies. Like, my biggest dream for myself is to be an artist that sets the pace and sets the blueprint for how other gender nonconforming artists can break into the mainstream or break into music in general and how to navigate that with this identity. But a lot of trans, like the thing is, all trans people don't experience a lot of the same things. So it's more so I just want to be able to walk so others can run and set an example of what it looks like when you're non-binary and trans-masc and you're trying to enter into hip hop, a field that is very predominantly cis male, and being a masculinity that is a deviation from that, and just to like prove and set an example for others who want to do the same thing. You know, in 10 years, when there's a 15-year-old trans-masc Black boy that like wants to rap, they can look at me and be like, oh, that's the swag. That's how I, like they have something to reference. Whereas like I had to learn my masculinity and my femininity from cis people and then like convert it to my own thing that I could then, translate to the world. I started making music before I ever knew that I was queer or that I knew I was trans. So music has always been in me. It's always been a part of my life. And it just so happened that 6 years ago, when I started taking it seriously as a career, and also when I came into my gender nonconformity, was at the same time that I was like, okay, that's when I went to college and I was like, okay, let me play shows. Let me actually try to like spread the word instead of just, writing in my room. It's a very vulnerable position to be a public figure. I shouldn't do quotes. To be a public figure and to be trans and to be an artist, it's all just, yeah, it's why I disappear a lot for my own sanity. If I was going to give advice to any trans masc person who wants to get into performing or being an artist or being a rapper, it would just be to build some thick skin, because you're going to get misgendered a lot. And you're going to have days where you're just like, damn, am I even welcome here? And I understand when I talk to other trans artists who are just like, I don't know how you do what you do. Like, if people were misgendering me like that, if people were like disrespecting me like that, I'm like, I know, but that's why you have to believe in your own thoughts, because if you're trying to break into this industry, they don't care. You have to remember, as an artist, these labels, these managers, these talent shows, these whatever, they need you. You're the talent. You're the music. You need trans people a lot more than we need you. You're going to have to deal with discrimination and deal with being misgendered and feeling out of place. But then you should also remember your worth. And there's only some times where you got to deal with it. But sometimes you got to like remember your worth and be like, hold on, you came to me. Like, you need me. Like, the industry needs us. Trans and gender nonconforming artists have a perspective that the way we write songs, the stories we tell, the way we talk about love, our body, sex, all of those things, it's so unique and so specific to us in a way that no one else can do. And the music that we make is always, it transcends, quite literally. So you have to treat yourself like the prize. I want you to know that trans people are divine, that we are we're very intuitive, we're very artistically inclined, and we are able to create so much even when the world gives us nothing. So imagine if you gave us something. I've been making music for 10 years. I've been pushing the career for 6. I don't have a lot of money. I don't have a lot of business connections. Everything I have is off my pure determination and desire to be an artist that is heard and seen and respected. Trans people are going to carve out their own space and do things their own way, even when the world shuts us down. And there's really no way to stop it. We're just going to people are going to keep coming out. People are going to keep expressing themselves. We're going to keep creating art. We're going to keep pushing boundaries. We're going to keep going into spaces we're not supposed to be in. The industry is knocking at our door, but they don't know how to approach us correctly. So I'm, not returning the calls. If I could give my 13-year-old self some advice, it would be that you are not too quirky to understand. And I know you feel lonely right now, but you are going to find the people who like the things you like and like the things that you create. And you're going through some awkward phases right now with how you dress, and you're not sure where you're headed, but you're going to figure it out in a few years. And you're going to inspire other people on how to be themselves, even though you don't really know who you are right now, but it's coming.